Welcome back to the Archive Network. Aurelius here, with Malik, curators of the Treaty Archive. We left Maastricht Treaty last time at yet. For all the drama, something extraordinary had happened. Today we pick up where we left off. The doors of Maastricht closed behind a dozen delegations. Inside, the fate of a continent hung in the balance. Every word, every gesture, every silence, fraught with consequence. Leaders with centuries of rivalry faced a daunting task: find common ground for a united Europe. The stakes were nothing less than the future direction of Europe itself.
Aurelius, while the stakes were high, we must remember the human element here. Those leaders were not just representing countries. They were carrying the weight of their citizens' hopes and fears. The tension in those halls was palpable. It wasn't just about politics. It was about lives that could be affected by their decisions.
Maastricht, a quiet city, became the stage for an extraordinary diplomatic drama. 12 member states gathered, each with unique histories and interests. Germany's Helmut Kohl wanted a united Europe, while France's François Mitterrand pushed for political union. Britain's John Major faced skepticism back home. The atmosphere was charged, filled with historical baggage and national anxieties.
These leaders weren't just negotiating treaties. They were negotiating trust and understanding. Britain's skepticism came from a long history of valuing independence. Major wasn't just a negotiator. He was a voice for his people, who were deeply concerned about losing their hard-won control. The stakes were incredibly high, affecting lives and futures in ways many might not realize. For those sitting at the table, it was more than politics. It was personal, and the weight of that reality hung heavy in the air.
The first hurdle was the euro, the proposed single currency that aimed to unify Europe. Germany hesitated, fearful of losing financial autonomy. They remembered the hyperinflation of the past and cherished the stability of the Deutsche Mark. Meanwhile, France saw the euro as essential for unity, believing it could strengthen ties. Britain, on the other hand, bristled at the thought of setting monetary control, fearing it would lead to diminished influence. The negotiations were fraught with tension, showcasing the deep divides that still lingered.
It wasn't just about the currency. It was about identity. For Germany, the Deutsche Mark wasn't merely money. It symbolized stability and pride. Losing that would feel like losing a piece of themselves. France's push for the euro was a matter of national strategy too. They wanted to balance Germany's weight in Europe, aiming for influence, not just sharing a currency. This struggle was rooted in history, affecting real people's lives, hopes, and fears. It was deeper than economics. It was personal.
As the negotiations unfolded, we witnessed a compromise that was both intricate and revealing. Germany agreed to strict criteria for joining the euro, reflecting their economic rigor. Meanwhile, Britain and Denmark managed to secure valuable opt-outs, allowing them to maintain their own currencies. This delicate balance enabled some states to remain outside the single currency, showcasing the art of compromise. It reminds us that navigating these complex waters is an essential skill for any treaty, and history often hinges on such negotiations.
Compromise came at a significant cost. The UK didn't just want out of the euro. They aimed to protect their sovereignty. It wasn't just a matter of money. They were worried about losing their voice in Europe. They pressured for exemptions from social policies too, fearing too much power in Brussels would undermine their values. Denmark negotiated similar exceptions, reflecting their own deep concerns. For many, this wasn't just about economics. It was about preserving their national identity and the everyday lives of their people.
Foreign policy became another flashpoint in our recent history. The Gulf War laid bare Europe's divisions. France and Germany pushed for a unified stance, believing strength lay in solidarity. But Britain hesitated. They valued their diplomatic independence too much to commit to a common policy. The answer, as it turned out, was complicated. We ended up with a common foreign and security policy that allowed for national discretion. A delicate balance, though hardly a perfect solution. Such is the nature of political maneuvering.
Aurelius, you present this as a neat solution. But can we ignore the reality that national interests often conflict? A unified policy sounds appealing, but in practice, it often means watered-down responses. Each nation has its own agenda, and that complicates any collective action. This is where the art of compromise becomes a double-edged sword.
Progress was hard won, with tempers flaring and exhaustion setting in. Negotiations stretched late into the night, revealing just how high the stakes were. Jacques Delors was crucial in this process, mediating disputes and offering creative solutions when tensions rose. He consistently reminded everyone of our larger purpose: peace and prosperity. This wasn't just another political exercise. It was about securing a future. In moments like these, we see what is truly at stake for all of us.
And let's not forget the human cost of these negotiations. Every concession made, every agreement reached, came with sacrifices that affected real lives. The UK's opt-outs and Denmark's exceptions weren't just about policy. They reflected deep fears about losing national identity, about what it means to belong. This wasn't just a discussion of rules. It was about the soul of Europe and how people felt connected to each other across borders.
Yet, for all the drama, something extraordinary emerged from Maastricht. Diplomats came together, crafting a blueprint for a new Europe. The treaty promised not just a single market and currency, but also a deeper integration of nations. It was a moment of hope amid uncertainty, a beacon in the fog. But the question still lingers: would this ambitious vision withstand the test of ratification? We've seen history's whims before, and the stakes couldn't be higher.
That's where we leave it this time. Maastricht Treaty continues. The story isn't finished yet. Find the full series on the Treaty Archive, part of the Archive Network. We'll be back with the next chapter.